Hello, Washam here, and welcome back to small Higurashi When They Cry. So, let's find out why the shadow at my feet began to freeze. Is it because we told Rika? Will Rika die next? From that shadow, a cold arm reached out, so cold it seemed like it would freeze even my heart just by touching me, and grabbed my ankle. The heat generated by my body, the arm was absorbing it. It was a horrible chill. A freezing cold, numbingly rigid, frigid. It was an inviolable chill of fear. Though I sympathized with Shion, I had been naive in thinking that it was something only she had to worry about. In my head, Shion's eerie words repeated again and again. He was killed because I told him. He was killed because he found out. I confessed everything. So he was killed. Those words echoed through my head like a monotone mantra, and finally, those even repetitions took on meaning. The quiet shaking that had already overtaken me turned into a violent shiver that shot up my spine.
Rika-chan! Rika-chan だ!
今、なんて言ったんですか?
俺も実は打ち明けたんだ。リカちゃんに今日
More like she told you. But yes.
リカちゃんってリカちゃまのことですか? フルデ神社のリカちゃま?
そうだよ、リカちゃんだよ。俺もどうしようもなく不安で打ち明けたんだ。
And she was one doing most of the explaining.
リカちゃんに。
そうしたらリカちゃまはなんて?
The cat is worrying too much. I'll do something about it for sure. That's what Rika-chan said, and then she smiled. She smiled just like the missing mayor had when he encouraged Shion.
ごめん、シオン。俺ちょっとリカちゃんのことが心配になっちゃって。
はい、そんなに心配でしたらぜひ電話を。安否を確認してみてください。
ああ、そうさせてもらう。
また明日もこのくらいの時間に連絡します。それをもって私の安否確認としてください。
わかった、待ってる。じゃあな。すまん、切るぞ。
I put down the receiver without waiting for Shion to say goodbye. The danger to Shion and myself was secondary at this point. My sixth sense was blaring alarms in my head. I don't like this feeling. It's really bad. It's definitely bad.
くそ、無事でいてくれ、リカちゃん。
Is he calling? Oh, no, it's the end of a chapter. Is it the end of a chapter or is it midway? We'll find out. End of a chapter. Their punishment isn't over. Huh. Three new tips. From the scrapbook 8. The three families in modern times. As previously described, the Three Families Council today is a mere shell of democracy. In reality, it is a dictatorship run by the Sonozaki family. Both the Kimiyoshi and Furude families are far from their former glory, and it doesn't seem at all like they've maintained the ancient traditions. Only the Sonozaki family has retained their glory from the past, and has inherited many colourful traditions from the age known as Onigifuji village. Even the most recent, verifiable example of Watanagashi that occurred at the end of the Meiji era seems to have been done under the orders of the Sonozaki family. Refer to the three families' genealogical tree from the late Meiji. After the start of the Meiji era, the Sonozaki family wanted to push the development of Hinamizawa village, so they took a strong role in leadership. During the Dam Wars a few years ago, the Kimiyoshi family served as the chair of the opposition alliance, but this was in name only. In actuality, the Sonozaki family reigned as leader behind the scenes. People whispered that perhaps the Kimiyoshi family dictated acts of opposition that could be publicized, and the Sonozaki family enacted those which could not. Even in Hinamizawa, they whisper that the multitude of unsettling incidents reported during the dam protests, such as the kidnapping of the famous head of the Ministry of Construction's son, had been carried out by the Sonozakis. Additionally, they say that perhaps the Sonozaki family's secret maneuvering was responsible for the freak death incidents that have continuously recurred in recent years as well. The serial freak death incidents are without a doubt the second coming of the traditional Watanagashi. They must be enacting the Watanagashi on the day of the original Watanagashi, which has fallen to the level of an ordinary village festival, in order to remind the villagers of the holy laws of the Onugafuchi village. They say on the day of the original Watanagashi, but we learned before that it seems that it didn't have an original day, or it's sparse and far between. Anyway, it's safe to assert that exploring the Sonozaki family is the fastest route for researching it today. If I can expose the contents through the shrines of a storehouse, I'd like to narrow my research target to the Sonozaki family next. The Sonozaki house is strictly guarded by security cameras on the premises, but thankfully I've become acquainted with the sisters Mion, the next heir, and Shion. I want this to be a breakthrough I can connect to my next line of research. This is surely Takano's notes, right? I wonder who has them, though. Whoever killed them, or whatever killed them, or potentially the police. Their punishment isn't over. Next tip, come on.
いえいえ、気にしないでくださいよ。この店でおでんを食べるとですね、なぜか年計のガソリンスタンドの請求書に化けちゃうんですよ。
Wait, what? What?
だから遠慮しないでもう一杯飲んでいけばいいのに。
So, like, as in he puts the money for what he spent on the invoice for the gas. How does he manage that? Huh. The man, red-faced, waved his hand to say that he'd had enough, and disappeared into the brilliant neon lights in front of the station.
クマちゃんも勉強しといてくださいよ。謙虚な人が結局一番長生きするんです。
I think I can hear like the violin going in the background very faintly. It's hard to tell.
さっきの話、本当っすかね？
さて、それはわからないですけどね。真偽はともかく、そういう話がまことしやかに流れてるってことには意味があると思いますよ。
そんなのが村長を狙う動機になりうるんすかね？
クマちゃん、いつも言ってるでしょ。動機っていうのは、その本人に十分でありさえすれば足りるんです。
Yeah.
価値観の違いをよく考えなくちゃ。あ、お母さん、もう一杯ください。
Though we have been suppressing the information, Tomotake's and Takano's deaths were already known throughout Hinamizawa. All the rumors pointed to them having incurred the wrath of Yashiro-sama for setting foot on the Forbidden Temple, the storehouse for ritual implements. According to the rumors, there were two other people who went in there with them, Shion Sonozaki and Keiichi Maibara. People were whispering in the shadows that those two would be cursed by Yashiro-sama as well. Apparently, however, the responsibility didn't fall solely on the four trespassers' shoulders. Until last year it was locked up tight, but this year it had been changed to a simpler lock. Hadn't that been what allowed thieves to enter so easily? Those were the rumors going around.
クマちゃんは見たことありませんか？私はずいぶん前に何かのようで行った時に見たことをよく覚えてますよ。
すみません。 ちょっと思い出せないっす。
そりゃもうおっかないくらいに厳重に施錠してありましてね。重そうな缶抜きでどっかりと塞がれていて。
Huh. That's odd. Why did they change it to a simpler lock?
まるで大金庫みたいに厳重な蔵だったんですよ。
This year was a very simple and cheap padlock. The lone girl protecting the shrine of Rika Furude disliked the heavy locks and consulted with the mayor, who had replaced it with a simpler padlock.
だから村長とフルデリカも同罪ってことなんですか？だとしたら村長に続いてフルデリカもまずいじゃないですか。
The two people that were consulted by Keiichi and Shion.
その可能性は大ですね。クマちゃん、ひなみ沢を巡回している覆面者に至急連絡。フルデ神社近辺に張り付かせてください。
了解っす。
Continuing on. After hanging up on Shion, I searched for Rika-chan's phone number on my school's contact list. There it is. My fingers trembled with urgency, and I failed multiple times to put in the simple 5-digit number.
ケイイチ、こんな時間に電話？夜遅くは先方に失礼だからよしなさい。
今はそれどころじゃないんだよ。
I shouted angrily at my mother, listening to the dial tone. Pick up, come on, pick up. The time was 11 p.m. It certainly wasn't early. It was essentially the middle of the night. Nonsense, middle of the night's like 3 a.m. Had Rika-chan already gone to bed? Her phone would be ringing constantly though, so she would get back up for me? Rika-chan didn't pick up. She didn't pick up. She didn't pick up. Maybe she just happened to miss it. Maybe her bed was just too far away from the phone. The sound of the phone ringing gets clearer and clearer the longer you go on sleeping. Then, the bathroom? Yeah, she must be taking a bath. If that was the case, even if she heard the phone, she wouldn't be able to pick it up. It's a little late to be taking a bath, but it was possible she normally took baths right before going to bed. I'll wait 30 minutes and try calling again. Even as I was thinking that, I called her house over and over again. I kept calling. Over and over and over again and again. I kept calling her, but she didn't pick up even once. I think I kept trying for about 30 minutes, yet she wasn't picking up. Were my phone calls so persistent that she got scared of picking up the receiver? No, that couldn't possibly be it. There was no point in doing this any longer. The best thing to do would be to go there in person. Where was Rika-chan's house, though? I've never even asked her where she lived. Her residence was written there on the contact list, but it was an address with mostly numbers, so I couldn't tell where it was just by reading it. Isn't there a map or something in here? Rika Furude. Her last name was Furude. It's a bit of an odd last name, so it might be easy to find. Thinking that, I rummaged through the drawer with the phone book, but could only find things like take-out menus and phone numbers for public establishments. Shit. I tore one thing after another out of the drawer, but I didn't come up with any clues as to where Rika-chan's house was. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. If you don't know, then just ask. Ask someone who does know.
そうだ。レナなら知ってるに違いない。
I looked up Brennan's phone number on the contact list. Rena Ryugu. There she was.
もしもし、竜宮です。
It was the voice of a grumpy sounding man. It must have been Rena's father. I'm calling in the middle of the night. I need to be polite.
夜分遅くに 申し訳ありません。前原と申しますが、レナさんはいらっしゃいますか？
レイナは風呂に入っていますが。あ、出たかな。レイナ、友達から電話だぞ。
Oh, right. Reina Urugu was her real name, wasn't it? I'd gotten so used to calling her Rena that hearing her real name caught me a little off guard.
もしもし、お電話変わりました。
あ、俺だよ。刑事だ。夜遅くにすまん。
あれ？ケイチ君？こんな時間に何かな？
実はリカちゃんの家がどこにあるのか知りたいんだ。
Rena seemed a little appalled that I'd called her for something like that at this hour. However, she spoke her next words seriously, as if she caught on to how urgent my need was.
いいよ。古出神社の境内に集会所があるよね。その裏手に2階建ての倉庫小屋があるのを知ってるかな？そこに住んでるんだよ。
Wait, a two-story shack that's used for storage? I couldn't immediately visualize the place, but as long as I knew she lived on the shrine grounds, I'd just have to take a look around.
わかった。ありがとう。こんな遅くにすまなかったな。親父さんに謝っといてくれ。
そんなのはいいよ、ケイチ君。それより、どうしてリカちゃんの家を聞くのかな？
Renner asked in an unusually sharp way, halting me before I could hang up the phone. I hesitated for a moment about whether to tell her. He was killed because I told him.
ケイチ君？聞こえてるなら答えてほしいな。どうしてリカちゃんの家の場所をこんな時間に聞きたいのかな？
Renner affected her usual tone, but beneath her words lay a certain tension, like she intuitively sensed something was going on. What will you do, Keiichi? If it's Renner, can't I tell her? He was killed because he found out. I revealed everything, so he was killed.
ケイチ君？
Oh, and if she goes disappearing, that will just confirm what they think. Meanwhile, there's another connection with the two of them.
レナは真剣に聞いてるんだけどな。答えてほしいよ。
Rena asked me once again in a tone so forceful, I couldn't imagine her ever using it normally. I was taken aback by her vigor. Rena was Rika-chan's friend too. She had the right to be concerned about Rika-chan disappearing. If I told Rena, then, even if only for a moment, I could drive away my horrifying fears.
レナ、理由を聞かれると困るんだが。
Rena's tone was seriousness itself. Just from that tone, I could feel her saying, "No matter what you say, Keiichi-kun, I'll believe you." That subtle sense of security gave me the courage to reveal the truth.
リカちゃんが危ない気がするんだ。
それは虫の知らせかな？それともリカちゃんに危険が迫っている何か確信がある？
I really didn't have time to go back and forth with Rena about this. Still, I think listening to her calm voice soothed my pointless impatience.
確信はないけど。
Yet, I still hesitated. I told Rika-chan that we'd snuck into the ritual storehouse. The mayor, to whom Shion had confessed before that, had already disappeared. So, it was possible that Rika-chan also. I didn't know how to explain it to Rena. While I was tongue-tied, Rena spoke up.
変なこと聞いてごめんね。考えたら確信なんか必要なかった。
Rena laughed a little, seeming a bit absent-minded. I wasn't exactly in the mood to laugh, so this time I was dumbfounded. Rena continued in a cheerful, yet still purposeful voice.
友達のことが心配になって、それを確かめるのに理由なんかいらないと思う。仮にリカちゃんが寝てて、それを起こしてしまったとしても、それが理由なら私たちは誰も怒らないと思うよ。
Rena, thank you.
じゃあ、まずはケイチ君に確認するね。リカちゃんの家に電話はしたんだよね。 それでどうしても繋がらないから家の場所を聞いてきたんだね。
ああ、10分以上は鳴らし続けたと思う。ひょっとしたら気づかなくて寝てるだけなのかも。
リカちゃんの家はとても狭いの。だから電話が鳴ったらたとえ寝ていても気づかないわけはないよ。さとこちゃんもいるんだから2人揃って気づかないわけはない。
So the two of them do live together. I was right. Back however many parts ago that was in the first chapter, like near the beginning.
さとこってリカちゃんと一緒に住んでるのか？
うん。知らなかったの？今はその話は後ね。とにかく電話をそれだけ鳴らして誰も出ないのは絶対におかしいよ。
Rena understood the situation wasn't normal far faster than I could have ever imagined her to. It made her seem dependable. However, the fact that Rena had acknowledged this also meant that the best case possibility of it all just being the result of my own needless fears went out the window.
私も今からすぐにリカちゃんの家に行くね。一緒に行く？なら迎えに行くよ。
わかった。じゃあいつもの待ち合わせ場所で合流しよう。待ってるぞ。
私、ケイチ君の家に迎えに行くから。だからお家で待ってていいよ。それからご家族に私と一緒にリカちゃんの家に行ってくるって伝えておいてね。
うちでいいのか？時間のロスのような。
あと、みーちゃんには電話した？みーちゃんはこういう時すっごく頼もしいの。
Yeah.
まだなら私から電話しておくね。
My thoughts froze for a moment. Shion had just told me to be careful around Mion during our phone conversation a little while ago. Although, at the same time, it doesn't seem like Mion was one who did the Mare disappearance. So she might be somewhat dependable at least. If the Sonozaki main house was somehow lurking behind the surface of the annual freak deaths, then the current heir to the family, Mion, wouldn't be uninvolved. So wouldn't that mean she wasn't uninvolved in what happened this year to Takano-san and Tomitaka-san, and also the mayor's disappearance? She might have been.
じゃあね。すぐに行くからね。待っててね。
That's all Rena said before hurriedly hanging up. Now wasn't the time to be doubting Mion. I needed to make sure Rika-chan was safe. Safe. With an F. Not a TH. I changed and grabbed the key to my bike. I figured things would go more smoothly if we met up in the place we usually do before school. Rena wouldn't need to come all the way to my house. My parents would probably have objected if I told them I was leaving, so I creeped out without a word. The night was unusually warm and disagreeably humid. She said that Rika-chan and Satoko lived together, right? Then it wasn't only Rika-chan. Satoko wasn't there either? Realizing what them living together really meant caused my thoughts to immediately take a turn for the worse. That can't be. Satoko is... She's got nothing to do with any of this. Even if there were a reason for Rika-chan to disappear, there shouldn't be one for Satoko. Rena was really fast. Yeah, I think we've gone over this. She approached me on her bike at an amazing speed. Her breath was ragged, painting a clear picture of just how hurriedly she'd been gone.
Oh, Rena! さあ、行こうぜ。
ケイチ君、私、お家で待っててって言ったはずだよ。
Yes, because you're in danger too. Rena's expression was all business. Was she mad? Came out of the blue and I faltered for a moment.
いや、ここで合流した方が早く出発できると思ってさ。
ケイチ君は本当に分かってるの？
Yeah, you're just in danger too. Rena shouted, clearly angry. I'd never seen Rena like this before.
分かってるのかって何がだよ。
Rena seemed to notice she was scaring me, took a couple of deep breaths, then continued as if admonishing me, but her expression didn't soften at all.
ケイチ君、昨日村長さんがいなくなって村中で大騒ぎになったよね。
ああ。
そんな中で 圭一君はリカちゃんとさとこちゃんがいなくなったって言ってるんだよ。
ああ、そういうことになるな。
じゃあもっと用心しなくちゃダメだよ。こんな夜中にたった一人でこんなところで突っ立ってるなんて不用心にも程があるんだから。
In that case for you too. I began to understand where Rena's anger was coming
ご
from.
家族にはちゃんと私とリカちゃんの家に行くって伝えたよね。万が一私と圭一君が揃って失踪しちゃうようなことがあっても、いつどの辺でいなくなったのかを残すことができる。
Rena was perfectly level-headed in this emergency situation. Ever since the night of Watanagashi, every night someone had just died or disappeared. Wait. On the night itself, Takano-san and Tomitake-san met strange ends. On the next night, the elder vanished. Now, on the next night after that, Rika-chan and Satoko were nowhere to be found. I hadn't been thinking of anyone but myself, but it wasn't enough to say that Hinazawa was a little weird at the moment. It was, in fact, extremely strange. Rena had even anticipated our own disappearances and told me to tell my family where I was going. I was embarrassed at my own carelessness, and the need to be embarrassed made me afraid of the night.
ごめん、まだ言ってなかった。
じゃあ一緒に言いに行こう。
Rena beside me, I wheeled back towards my house. I was totally expecting something to happen right at that moment. The moon seemed strangely high in the sky. A sky that was uselessly vast and cold. So that no matter what, it would never seem to me like a dream. This cruel fact had already confronted me. On such a crazy night, Rena had been unimaginably dependable. Hinamizawa's metamorphosis, enough to make Rena caution me against carelessness, was, to me, the most fearsome thing of all. The moon seemed strangely high in the sky. We met up with Mion on the way, and she, of course, was unsure whether to believe me about Rika-chan and Sakotoko's disappearance.
本気で言ってんの？もし冗談だったらかなり怒るよ。
Mion was clearly displeased. If this were a joke, it wasn't very funny. I understood how indiscreet my words were. Ever since the day before yesterday, someone had either died or vanished every night. Rika-chan and Satoko disappearing after all that was something you just couldn't say, even in jest.
兄ちゃん、
Yes, it has happened every night since this night. And one night has happened in that time. Yeah, that is very,
本当に冗談だったなら怒るんじゃなく笑おうよ。だって冗談なんだから。
Oh, Rena-chan, your logic.
私たちはそれが冗談であることを確かめなくちゃいけない。
そうだね。機嫌の悪そうなことを言ってごめん。
However indiscreet a joke it may have been, if we learned that our friends were safe, it would end up as nothing more than a funny story. Having been warned about that by Rena, Mion gave a dry smile, the tension she felt loosening a bit. She mounted her bicycle as well. Our 3 bicycle lights flashed down the pitch-black roads. They were some of the only illumination outside.
ケイちゃんはなぜ急にこんな時間にリカちゃんの家に電話なんかする気になったわけ？
Mion asked me the same thing I had trouble explaining to Rena.
虫が知らせた。じゃあおかしいか。
I couldn't quite tell because it was dark, but I thought I could see Mion smiling very ambiguously. I definitely understood that she wasn't convinced, though, despite the darkness.
俺さ、うたた寝してる時に悪い夢を見ると。
圭一君はそれでリカちゃんがさらわれる夢を見たわけかな。
いや、もっと漠然とした予感みたいなものだよ。リカちゃんが電話に出てくれたなら、レナやミオにも続けて電話するつもりだったよ。
Lies smoothly babbled out of my mouth, makeshift though they were. I was lying because I thought telling them I was connected to Shion would be likely silently admitting we'd stolen into the ritual storehouse together that night. Mion didn't press me any further. I don't know whether that convinced her, or maybe she figured that making sure Rika-chan and Satoka was safe would be faster than making an issue out of it. I felt relieved, and immediately a little guilty. Mion hadn't really been acting any differently these last few days, but I'm still trying to distance myself from her for some reason. It was only because of what I had heard from Shion and Doi-san, that she was the success of some kind of super extravagant gang family. No. Was I just trying to force myself to forget? Don't do that, Keiichi Maibara. Wasn't it Mion who was the first to ask about the night of Watanagashi? Such a harsh tone at that. Have I already forgotten the terror I felt? At the time, Mion looked like someone different from the Mion I knew. When I think about that Mion, then Shion and Doi-san's descriptions of Mion made a tiny bit more sense. That's it, isn't it? If it wasn't for how she acted that day, I wouldn't be feeling this way towards her now. What on earth what was going on with her back then? I was conveniently thinking only of everything she had done after that, while disregarding the very first thing, the thing I should have been looking for at most, wasn't it? Mion was pedaling her bicycle in front of me, her long hair fluttering in the wind. No matter how long I looked at her back, it never gave me answers to any of my questions. We went all the way to the stone steps leading up to the shrine grounds. Of course, we weren't going to want to haul our bikes up there, so we parked them beside the staircase instead. And on that note, I think I'll call it there for tonight. Well, today. Yeah, find out what's on the top of the staircase next time. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments, and until next time, see ya.